Noah, my first question is, do you remember some situation when you got acquainted with somebody? How did you do that? What was your first phrase?
So when I met, for instance, my boss, my employer, the first thing I would say to him was, hello, my name is Noah. It's a pleasure to meet you. And I would reach out my hand and we'd shake hands. And so I would say the first thing I said was hello, my name, and then how are you?
I see. But will greetings differ if you meet not your boss, but, for example, your friend?
Sure, I might say something a little more casual, like, hey, I'm Noah, and I would still go for the handshake, but it would be less formal.
It would be less formal, I see. But you've said that you can say hello to your boss or to your teacher, for example, at university. Yeah.
Yes. Hello is an acceptable greeting for someone of a higher
You see, there is a difference in this between Russian culture and American, because in Russia it would be a familiarity if you say to your boss or to your teacher hello. Of course, it depends on a person. Maybe a teacher is so friendly and he can also say hello, but in general we can say hello only to our friends. Yes, it is like this. Okay, you say hello, and what should you say next?
Generally, I would then ask how someone is doing. So I would say, hello, how are you? It's just generally the polite thing to say.
Okay. And what can he answer? What can he or she answer to this?
Usually something positive. So I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. Everything's great. Most of the time, never anything bad.
Okay, I see. So I always should say I'm fine, even if I'm in a bad mood. For example, my neighbors left their tap running in their bathroom and they spoiled my flat. Can I say I'm awful, or I still should say I'm fine and smile?
Sure. If it was a friend asking you, I think it would be okay to say that everything is awful, my apartment is flooded. But if it is your boss or someone in a professional context, you would still be expected to say, oh, everything's fine.
I see. And also there is a difference here between Russian and American culture, because if you ask this question in Russian, a person can tell you about his problems during an hour, and you should be prepared to listen to him and to sympathize with him. And sometimes it is better not to ask how are you if you if you don't have enough time to listen to all his problems. And I've heard that sometimes people instead of how are you say how do you do. Is it possible to say so?
I would say it's a much more British thing to ask. It's much more common in Britain from what I've seen, and in America it's not so common, but you would be understood for sure. It's an expression that Americans know but just might not necessarily use.
I see. And do Americans use such greetings as good morning, good afternoon, or good evening?
Good morning is very common. That's a very common expression to use. Once again, the other two, good afternoon and good evening, would be understood, but just generally are not as common on a conversational basis.
Okay, but can you say good morning if it is afternoon or evening already?
No, absolutely not. Only in the morning.
Okay, I see. And do greetings in emails or in social networks differ from greetings in our oral speech?
Yes, I think an acceptable way to start an email in a professional context would be, for instance, if you were writing to me, to say, hello, Noah, and then the message. If it was to a friend or someone with whom you are more familiar, to say, dear Noah, or you could still say, hey, Noah, or something like that.
It is almost the same as when we speak. Just hello will be enough and will be appropriate in this situation. Yes. I see. And now I want to make some conclusions concerning this point. So we should say hello for formal greetings, and we can say hi for informal greetings. And how are you is just a polite question, and we should always ask it. It is a kind of friendliness, politeness, and if you don't ask this question, a person can think that you are rude. Really? Is it really so? So don't forget to ask how are you, and how do you do is better for British English. And also you can say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, but good morning is more popular than all the rest phrases. And when you write an email, you can use hello. Okay, and there is a question in our chat. Let's look at it and try to answer. Noah, the question is, what about what's up? Is it used?
Yes, it's very common, but only in informal settings. So if I were to see a friend of mine, I could say, oh, hey, what's up? And it would fulfill the same purpose as asking, how are you? Now, an acceptable response to what's up would be nothing. And I see the next question about morning instead of good morning. It can be used. You could say morning, but oftentimes you would still hear good morning. It's more acceptable in a formal context to say good morning, and then informally you could just say
I see. And there is one more question. How is it going up?
Yes, the question that would be asked there is similar to what's up, and it's how's it going? And the answer to that in a positive way would be like, it's going well.
So there are a lot of variants to which we can use instead of how are you in informal speech.
Yes, but yes, that's correct.